Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a character analysis of Emilia from Shakespeare's Othello. My cat realized I was filming and left. I am not going to offer any sort of summary for Othello, so real Othello fans only. I'm just kidding, that's just not what this video is. It's just a character analysis. So, without further ado, like much ado about nothing. Okay, let's get into it. So despite her initial lack of stage time, Emilia grows into one of the most complex characters in Shakespeare's Othello. Most of her complexity revolves around her interpersonal relationships with other characters. The audience is first introduced to her by her husband Iago, who introduces her in terms of her possible affair with Othello. The fact that her character introduction itself revolves around her relationships with others foreshadows how much of her characterization and personality is influenced by these characters. Also, Emilia's friendship with Desdemona leads to Emilia's most pivotal actions of the play in Act 5 when she defends Desdemona against Othello. Shakespeare created Emilia's identity and characterization solely based on her interpersonal relationships with other characters, therefore limiting not only her actions, but her room for growth as a person. Nevertheless, he pushes her to her limit, causing intense changes to her relationships in the final act. The first one of Emilia's relationships the audience hears about is her possible affair with Othello, which is introduced by Iago when he said, "I hate the Moor, and it is thought abroad that twixt my sheets has done my office," which basically means, I hate this guy, rumor has it he screwed my wife. Fair reason to hate somebody. Despite this introduction, their possible affair is never confirmed and is not likely. Although Emilia is in a loveless marriage, Othello is not, and they both care deeply about Othello's wife, Desdemona. In fact, Othello and Emilia don't interact much on stage compared to their interactions with other characters. Most of the time when the audience sees Emilia with Othello, it is because she is watching or attempting to mediate his arguments with Desdemona. The mediation of these arguments is ironic, of course, because unbeknownst to Emilia, many of their conflicts are spurred indirectly by her actions and the influence that her husband has over everyone. Desdemona and Emilia have a strong friendship throughout the play and especially in the final act. In many ways, Emilia's relationship with Desdemona is stronger than her relationship with her own husband. As is common with female friendship dynamics, Desdemona and Emilia discuss with each other their feelings and relationships with others. When Desdemona and Othello start having problems in their relationship, she confides in Emilia, going to her for advice and to talk through her feelings and problems. The relationship escalates in the final act when Emilia comes clean about her actions in giving Desdemona's handkerchief to Iago, which leads to Iago killing her. It is obvious that Emilia is in a loveless marriage, which is reminiscent of a lavender marriage, a term coined in 1920s Hollywood and a tactic used throughout the golden age of Hollywood. During the time period in which Othello takes place, it was not unlikely for their marriage to be political, especially given the hostile dynamics between the two. A lavender marriage was a political marriage of convenience between a queer man and a queer woman to cover up their true identities. The lack of respect Iago shows towards Emilia, coupled with the numerous times he tells other men that he loves them, it has become a common theory that Iago is actually gay. As for Emilia, refer again to her relationship with Desdemona. Desdemona is fully devoted to Othello, so it is unlikely that she harbored any feelings for Emilia. Emilia, on the other hand, does not care for her husband. When asked if she would be unfaithful towards him, she answers, "Why? Would not you?" implying that she would have little to no qualms with cheating on him. While it is more common for women to be outwardly expressive of their affection for one another, in the final act, Emilia quite literally dies for Desdemona. Emilia confesses Iago's actions and her position as his accomplice to clear Desdemona's name and reputation in the eyes of Othello. Then, after Iago fatally wounds Emilia, she requests that they lay me by my mistress's side. Just a few lines after this, Emilia speaks her last words, which are partially sung. With her last breaths, she sings the melody that Desdemona had sang to her in the previous act. This song, as well as her request to be laid next to Desdemona, lead to a romantic connotation in Emilia's actions and therefore relationship towards Desdemona, despite her feelings being unreciprocated. So if anyone ever tells you that Shakespeare is unrelatable, just tell them about this, because we've all been there. Again, despite the hostility between the two, Emilia's relationship with Iago is her most dynamic relationship. Much of Emilia's stage time is with him, and much of the stage time they spend physically without one another, they spend talking about one another. In the first act, we are introduced to Emilia, albeit not by name, by Iago when he tells the audience how he believes her to be unfaithful. The way Emilia is introduced to the audience in terms of her relationship with another character shows that her relationships with others are valued more than her actions as an independent individual. Until the final act, all of Emilia's actions are influenced by another person, most often Iago. Towards the beginning of the play, Emilia follows Iago's suggestions and wishes as a pawn in his plan to ruin the relationship between Othello and Desdemona. Despite the fact that Emilia and Iago clearly do not like each other, she still follows his wishes because of the role she must play as a wife in a misogynistic society. At first, she does not have much against helping Iago because she thinks her actions are innocent. Until she has reason to believe Iago is causing problems, she gives him the benefit of the doubt. As the action of the play continues, though, Emilia becomes wary of her husband's actions. She's the first character to realize that someone is causing problems for others and suspects Iago. Because she has been diminished to the role of a dutiful housewife, she does not outright accuse him without solid proof, which she finally gets in the final act. In both Emilia's relationship with Iago and her relationship with Desdemona, she is not the dominant one. This is commonplace for many heterosexual relationships, especially throughout history, so it makes perfect sense for Iago to be the dominant one in their relationship. Even in the case of a lavender marriage, men are generally more dominant in male-female relationships of all kinds due to systemic misogyny. When Emilia and Desdemona are on stage together alongside other male characters, Desdemona is the one who does most of the talking between the two of them. Desdemona can also be seen as more of an instigator of conversation, whereas Emilia mostly only speaks when spoken to. These relationship dynamics are integral to Emilia's characterization, as they show that she is submissive in her interactions with others, especially men. This characterization can be attributed to the misogyny of the time, although this is not an excuse for her lack of independence. Although it would be easy to overlook Emilia's role in Othello, that would be a grave mistake. Her theorized relationship with Othello provides some of Iago's motivations for his antagonistic actions throughout the entire play. Her relationship with Iago is what led to her catalyst action of giving him Desdemona's handkerchief. Her strong and possibly romantic relationship with Desdemona is the reason she defended and died for her. While the audience can learn about who Emilia is as a person from her relationships, she had a lot of potential as her own independent character that Shakespeare ignored in favor of his male characters. Relationships are extremely important when creating a character arc, but it's just as important for characters to come into their own as individuals, just like real people. No matter how talented a writer Shakespeare is, his misogyny and the general misogyny of his time is ever too apparent in an analysis of most, if not all, of his female characters. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, you can leave a thumbs up and a comment down below. And if you didn't, don't tell me. I don't want to know. Keep that to yourself. Thank you very much. I really do hope you enjoyed the video, though. If you have any opinions on the analysis or any of your own opinions on Othello or Emilia, please comment down below. I would love to carry on the discussion. So I hope you have a wonderful day and week, whenever you're watching this. Say goodbye to everybody. No, I don't want to say goodbye. Okay, she's camera shy. She says goodbye. Okay, well I can't get up to turn the video off because she is sitting on my lap now, so guess I'm stuck like this.